Dinosaurs ruled the Earth for over 165 million years. However, there were many animals that lived before, during, and after that were just as formidable. We've picked 72 that dominate the others. In this show, we will talk about these dangerous animals, including when they lived, what they ate, their weaponry, and how humans would fare if these creatures were still alive. From the largest venomous animal of all time, to birds that could take out animals 30 times their weight, to a pterosaur that could kill a T-Rex, this is 72 Dangerous Animals, Prehistory. Ophthalmosaurus grew up to 20 feet in length and weighed 2,090 pounds. It lived 165 to 150 million years ago in North and South America and Europe.
Ophthalmosaurus, the eye lizard, was named for its massive orbitals, which are the largest compared to body size of any animal. Only the giant and colossal squid have eyes that are larger. Unlike other ichthyosaurs, Ophthalmosaurus had a powerful tail that it used for propulsion. Like other ichthyosaurs, Ophthalmosaurus had vertebrae that formed its lower tail fluke. The upper part of its fluke was just soft tissue. Ophthalmosaurus's front limbs were much larger than its hind limbs. Ophthalmosaurus traveled using its tail to propel itself through the water and its limbs to steer. This is unlike other ichthyosaurs, which traveled by moving their bodies almost in an eel-like fashion. Ophthalmosaurus was also viviparous, giving birth to live animals, like modern dolphins and whales. Ophthalmosaurus fed on all kinds of animals smaller than it, without being a specialist at hunting any specific item. Its rostrum was filled with very small teeth, and it could ram its prey with its rostrum like modern dolphins do to sharks.
Ophthalmosaurus takes first place for now, but can hold it against a massive saber-toothed predator. Inostrancevia averaged around 11 feet in length, but has been estimated to reach up to 14 maximum. It weighed 1,000 pounds. It lived 260 to 252 million years ago in Russia.
The largest of the gorgonopsids, Inostrancevia, was the second largest carnivorous terrestrial animal to walk the earth before the dinosaurs, the largest being Ankylosaurus. Inostrancevia was made famous for its appearance in the TV show Primeval. It had massive canine teeth protruding from its top jaw. However, its bite force was quite weak. Inostrancevia is estimated to have a bite force around 715 newtons. For comparison, Smilodon had a bite force of about 1,000 newtons, and humans have a bite force of approximately 1,300 newtons. Like Smilodon, Inostrancevia would have been able to open its jaws up to 120 degrees to be able to bite down on its prey. Its teeth were stronger and better rooted than Smilodon's, allowing it to kill its prey and tear it apart using its large canines. Whereas Smilodon would have sliced the windpipe to kill its prey, Inostrancevia would have done as much damage as possible to its prey to kill it, using its teeth and claws. Inostrancevia was the apex predator of its habitat, targeting Scutosaurus and Vivaroxosaurus as its main prey. With its 6-inch-long teeth and its large jaws, it was able to tear through Scutosaurus's tough armor. Humans would have been easy kills for Inostrancevia, much easier than taking on the armored tanks it was used to killing. Inostrancevia definitely puts the gore in Gorgonopsid.
Inostrancevia takes top spot, pushing Ophthalmosaurus to number 2. Up next, a massive cephalopod larger than a truck. Ammonites grew up to 17 feet long, counting the tentacles and the shell, and weighed up to 3,200 pounds. They lived 416 to 65 million years ago in the oceans globally.
The largest species of ammonite was Parapuzosia. The fossil shell we have is incomplete, but it's estimated to have been 11.5 feet while complete. The head and tentacles add another 6+ feet to its length. Parapuzosia would have preyed on fish, marine reptiles, and other cephalopods. It moved around using its siphon and likely moved up and down the water column instead of moving horizontally. Parapuzosia had a powerful beak that could crush bones and break shells. It was in turn preyed upon by Cretoxyrhina, Prognathodon, Tylosaurus, and Mosasaurus, all of which are included in our 72. Just like with Camarasaurus, an unlikely human could fall prey to this beast. Ammonite would grab you and pull you into its mouth, where its beak would crunch your skull. It would have been extremely strong, and once you were in its grip, there would have been no escaping.
Ammonite can't quite beat Inostrancevia. It takes second place, pushing Ophthalmosaurus to number 3. Upcoming is our list's first mosasaur. Plotosaurus grew up to 42 feet long and weighed up to 35,000 pounds. It lived 72 to 66 million years ago in North America.
Plotosaurus, the swimmer lizard, was the best adapted mosasaur for aquatic life. It had many features that other mosasaurs lacked. It was built like an ichthyosaur and had a fusiform body shape, large tail fin, and narrow flippers compared to other mosasaurs. Some of its tail vertebrae were fused together, allowing for a more efficient method of swimming. Fossilized scales have been found, revealing that Plotosaurus had scales very similar to sharks that would have created vortices to reduce drag. Plotosaurus would have been the fastest swimming mosasaur of all time. While Mosasaurus could have reached 30 miles per hour in short bursts, Plotosaurus likely could maintain 30 miles per hour for longer periods of time, and in short bursts reach much greater speeds. Plotosaurus also had very large eyes, allowing for excellent eyesight. Its eyes were proportionally larger than other mosasaurs compared to body size. As well as these large eyes, Plotosaurus also had large nostrils, which allowed it to intake air faster while at the surface, and was yet another adaptation to aquatic life. Plotosaurus would have fed on large fish and squid. Plotosaurus' speed, size, and large sharp teeth would have been a killer combo. Humans wouldn't stand a chance.
Plotosaurus was a massive predator that would have had no problem erasing a human from existence. It shoots to first place, pushing Inostrancevia, Ammonite, and Ophthalmosaurus to second, third, and fourth, respectively. Incoming, a long-necked sea monster rumored to still live on this planet today. Elasmosaurus grew up to 46 feet long and weighed up to 36,000 pounds. It lived 94 to 71 million years ago in North America.
Elasmosaurus had a longer neck than all other plesiosaurs, both proportionally and in length. It had 71 vertebrae in its neck alone. This allowed for extreme flexibility, though Elasmosaurus' neck was almost always held straight out in front of its body, but could sweep to the side or upwards to snatch a fish. Elasmosaurus would have caught prey by ambushing it from below. Swimming below a school of fish allowed Elasmosaurus to stay hidden, out of sight. It would have moved its neck upward to snatch fish from the school. Elasmosaurus had long and thin teeth that interlocked to hold onto prey and prevent it from escaping, much like a Venus flytrap with an insect. Elasmosaurus' teeth were meant for prey capture, not ripping things apart, so everything it ate needed to be swallowed whole. This puts it at a disadvantage in killing humans. However, an Elasmosaurus at maximum size would be capable of swallowing a whole human. The teeth of Elasmosaurus would have done lots of damage, as they would have penetrated deep into the flesh. You could easily bleed to death from the wounds if you weren't eaten. Elasmosaurus swallowed stones to help grind up prey in its stomach. Elasmosaurus was a slow swimmer and used its flippers to paddle itself through the water. It is unknown how baby Elasmosauruses were born, but it was almost guaranteed live birth, as Elasmosaurus would be completely useless on land since it wouldn't be able to support the weight of its neck and its flippers weren't built for functioning on dry land. Elasmosaurus also wouldn't have even been capable of lifting its neck above water. The famous Loch Ness Monster has been thought to be a plesiosaur for many centuries. Though in-depth analysis and basic reasoning, it was confirmed that there is no plesiosaur roaming the loch. It is too cold, and there is next to nothing in terms of a food supply for a massive prehistoric beast. The famous image of Nessie turned out to be a toy submarine with a plastic head attached to it. While the loch couldn't sustain a plesiosaur, it could and does support a population of migratory Greenland sharks. Sightings over the years have been recently attributed to these slow-moving, cold-watered sharks. As Greenland sharks live slow lives, living over 400 years old and growing ever so slowly, only reaching sexual maturity at the ripe old age of 150 years, and only requiring 2 ounces of food a day, they are perfect candidates to represent the Loch Ness Monster. Greenland sharks have been migrating back and forth through the Loch Ness and into the ocean for thousands of years. Greenland sharks sometimes surface, allowing these sightings of massive objects floating in the water to be made. In River Monsters Season 5, Episode 6, extreme angler and freshwater detective Jeremy Wade caught a Greenland shark and brought light to his viewers that the Loch Ness Monster exists. It's just not what everyone expected.
Elasmosaurus wouldn't have been nearly as effective at killing humans as Plotosaurus or Inostrancevia. It takes third place, pushing Ammonite to fourth and Ophthalmosaurus to fifth. Up next, the largest whale to exist up until baleen whales increased in size. Basilosaurus grew up to 70 feet long and weighed 132,000 pounds. It lived 41 to 34 million years ago in North America and Africa.
Basilosaurus, meaning king lizard, was originally thought to have been an aquatic reptile before being recognized as a mammal. Basilosaurus was one of the earliest whales. It still had elbow joints, like seals, and unlike those of other whales. Basilosaurus had hind limbs protruding from its body, unlike other whales who lost them over time. It could use its limbs to get extra grip on a female when mating. Unlike modern toothed whales, Basilosaurus had canines and molars in its teeth, meaning it was a heterodont rather than a homodont like most whales. It used its specialized teeth to take out large prey, such as small whales and large fish, such as sharks that were too big for other predators to target. Basilosaurus's main prey, however, was the Dorodon, a smaller species of Basilosaurid. While other whales must swallow their food whole, Basilosaurus is capable of chewing. Basilosaurus's bite force has been estimated to be up to 20,000 newtons. It killed its prey by crushing their skulls with its mighty jaws. Basilosaurus skulls were so similar to Mosasaurus that for that reason it was misidentified as a reptile. Basilosaurus had a small brain case compared to other whales, indicating it may have been a solitary predator. It also lacked a melon, unlike other toothed whales. Basilosaurus could likely use its tail to provide a quick burst of speed while chasing prey. Basilosaurus had weak muscle attachment near the spine, preventing it from diving deep or maintaining top speed for long. Basilosaurus's vertebrae were hollow and fluid-filled, which meant if it swam too deep, its bones would be crushed. This animal also swam like an eel, but in a vertical motion instead of horizontal due to its tail fluke. Basilosaurus went extinct during the Eocene-Oligocene extinction event and left no descendants behind.
Basilosaurus wriggles its way in the top spot, pushing Plotosaurus to second. Inostrancevia, Elasmosaurus, Ammonite, and Ophthalmosaurus finish in 3rd, 4th, 5th, and 6th place respectively. Basilosaurus wins the episode and moves on to our finalists. Coming soon, a giant ground sloth, a bird of prey much larger than Haast's eagle, and the largest snake of all time.
It's currently unnamed, but there's a type of no-assorted theropod from the Cretaceous Niger, which was a burrowing animal. It was slender, its arms were highly reduced, and its claws were spade-like, excellent for digging. Its discoverer, the famous Paul Sereno, calls it the weirdest dino he has ever found, and said it might have been able to dive under the sand for subterranean prey.
In each episode, we will rank the creatures from 1 to 6 on a scale of how potentially dangerous these creatures would be to humans, and the winner of each episode will showdown with the other 11 finalists in the season finale to decide on which prehistoric creature was the ultimate human killing machine.